Namaste, good morning. I welcome all of you and all our distinguished guests on stage to this wonderful event, which is the inauguration of the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center and its affiliation to the University of Mumbai. We know that with years of colonization, Indian culture has been impacted in various ways, and India has looked towards the West. However, in recent times, two things have happened which have once again rekindled the interest in Indian Vedic philosophy. And these two things are, the first being that the West has finally realized that for any form of enlightenment, only the Indian Vedic philosophy is complete. And the West has even today given Sanskrit the position of being the most perfect language in all of civilization. And the second thing being that despite colonialism, no matter how many years we've been under different foreign rules, our Indian traditions have been so deeply ingrained in us, in our way of life, whether it is the way we respect and we treat our elders, or whether it's the manner in which we celebrate all our festivals, or our tradition of visiting holy places of pilgrimage. All this has deeply inculcated the deep traditions of our ancient Vedic philosophy. And today, the youth want to go deep. They want to go back to our roots and learn the philosophy behind all these traditions. They want to study what the scriptures say about these traditions that we have been following since time immemorial. And this is what the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center is about. This research center is the educational and academic initiative of ISKCON to facilitate the study, research, and application of ancient Indian philosophy and theology. It also encompasses the field of Indian arts and sciences such as Sangeet, Nritya, Natya, Chitrakala, Shilpakala, Yoga, Ayurveda, Vastu Shastra, and Jyotish Shastra, amongst others. Have any of you all ever thought of doing a PhD in a subject like lessons abstracted from the Ramayana on leadership? Or some people I've heard even want to do research in fields like correlating the star positions which are given in the different events of the Mahabharata war and relating it to our present English Gregorian calendar. So today, you can do all this and more at Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center, which is located at the beautiful, verdant Govardhan Eco Village. And another branch is soon coming up at the Piramal Vaikunta complex in Thane. So this has opened up the golden treasure chest of Vedic philosophy and wisdom. And now you can obtain a formal degree in Vedic philosophy. And this will now give so much credibility and legitimacy to all our Vedic scholars. A beautiful venture like this needs the support of eminent and distinguished educationists and thinkers. And so today, as guests of honor, we have some very distinguished personalities amongst our midst who are sitting here on stage. I would like to introduce Shri Vinod Tawde, Honorable Education Minister of Maharashtra. He is yet to come. He will be with us shortly. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, Shri Ajay Piramal, Chairman Piramal Group, Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, Pro Vice Chancellor, Mumbai University, Dr. Vishnu Magare, Pro Vice Chancellor, SNDT Women's University, and Shri Kushal Desai. I would request the following persons to now come on stage because we would like to felicitate our guests of honor with floral tributes. So Gauranga Prabhu, Dr. Snehal Donde, Mr. Anurag Parikh, Ras Govind Prabhu, Dr. Rambhav Badode, and Rasikaraman Prabhu. Please come on stage. I will request you to kindly give out the floral bouquets to honor our guests of honor. So could Dr. Snehal Donde please come and felicitate His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj? Dr. Snehal Donde. She is one of our faculty. I request Mr. Anurag Parikh to kindly felicitate Shri Ajay Piramal ji, Chairman of the Piramal Group. Mr. Anurag Parikh. I request Ras Govind Prabhu to felicitate Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor, Mumbai University. I would request Dr. Rambhav Badode to please felicitate Dr. Vishnu Magare, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor, SNDT Women's University. And now, I call upon His Grace Gauranga Prabhu. He's been the life of this whole initiative. He is an alumnus of Mumbai IIT and he is the chairman of the Bhaktivedanta Research Center and the director of GEV. I now call upon Gauranga Prabhu to please say a few words and introduce the whole concept of this Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center and its affiliation with the Mumbai University. Thank you.
Honorable guests on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure in welcoming all of you on this most auspicious occasion of the inauguration of the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center in affiliation with Mumbai University. I really appreciate the effort and the time all of you have taken to join us for this occasion. Today, one of the greatest challenges in India is how do we restore relevance and respect for our Vedic ancient tradition. If we try to analyze the problems we are facing today, it would be interesting to compare with two countries in the world, China and United States. In the 1960s, China went through what is known as the Cultural Revolution. It was called the Cultural Revolution, but the entire effort was to remove any semblance of Chinese culture in society. Various kinds of impositions were made, and specifically old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits were systematically demolished. Temples, monasteries, books, artifacts, various kinds of things which were connected with the ancient Chinese civilization were systematically dismantled and removed. But in due course of time, the impact of this was seen by society, and it was found that there was a severe moral decay and identity crisis amongst the population in China. When the Chinese government realized this, in the recent times there has been a tremendous boost in investments in trying to expand the idea of a Chinese cultural revolution in terms of connecting with the ancient Chinese civilization. There has been a lot of money which has been invested by the Chinese government to revive Confucius philosophy. Institutes, libraries, festivals, values connected to Confucius philosophy has been promoted like anything. And in the last few decades, there has been a total transformation in the emphasis and the priorities by the Chinese government, because they want the world to know China not just as a manufacturing superpower, but also a superpower in terms of cultural ethos and values. The second example is in United States. Although United States of America came officially into existence in 1776, way back in 1636, Harvard University was established, and 1701, Yale University was established, and both were established as theological institutes. These were meant to be institutions where religion and spirituality, specifically with respect to training people in Christianity, was established. Later, with the impact of Industrial Revolution and Darwinian theory, from the 1776 onwards till 1870, these spiritual values, culture, and theological understanding was very, very widespread. But as Darwinian theory became more prominent and the effects and impact of the Industrial Revolution was seen, the respect which natural sciences and technology started gaining in the eyes of the people grew. As a result of this, people started questioning the relevance of religious values, theological principles, and the period between 1870 to 1925 is known as the age of research universities, where, gradually speaking, new research methods in religious studies were introduced, which were influenced by the natural sciences. People also started questioning the validity of theological studies, and to a great extent, this was connected to the gaining respect and relevance of science and technology. The third period from 1925 to 1965 was very interesting. The world saw the influence of two world wars where millions of people were killed. United States in particular saw in the late 1920s a huge economic upheaval. Millions of people, they became bankrupt. And as a result, people started questioning, is science and technology the only means to establish righteousness, justice, compassion, peace in society? Intelligent people started questioning and started looking for alternatives. And this is the period in which religious studies started gaining ground. And so this period of 1925 to 1965 is known as the age of Protestant establishment. And during this period, the world saw that in the United States of America, institutes, programs, courses, funding, endowments, specifically with respect to religious studies, grew like anything. And in the 1945 to 1960 period, in the United States, religious studies programs saw a 100% increase in the number of students being taken, and there was a 60% increase in the PhD programs which happened in the same period. The fourth era happened in America post 1963. 1963 was the year when the American Academy of Religion was established. What began in 1909 as the Biblical Institute for Teaching Theology became in 1933 as the National Institute for Teaching Bible, and that formally got established in 1963, opening the doors to religious studies of all denominations, and it was known as the American Academy of Religion, which was meant to foster excellence in religious studies. And you'll be amazed to know that today, American Academy of Religion has more than 10,000 members. Every year, in the month of November, the American Academy of Religion organized their annual conference where more than 10,000 people actually gather. Following in the footsteps of Christianity, Buddhism also grew, especially in America, and in the academic study of religion, we found universities like Naropa, University of the West, and Soka University, to name a few, which not only were involved in the academic study of Buddhism, but also in applied solutions and narratives to deal with real life problems which society was facing, problems like stress, relationship issues, and as many of you know, the world over, more than 300 million people suffer from depression. Could some of these applications from our ancient traditions be of value to modern day contemporary society? When we look at India, India has been an amazing example of heritage, culture, values, and wisdom. In the Maurya, Gupta, Vijayanagar dynasties, and also the Maratha Empire, it was very common to see that the entirety of India was connected mainly on the basis of culture, tradition, and values. Various reformers, including Shankaracharya, Sripad Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they traveled the length and breadth of India, uniting this nation on the basis of culture, tradition, and spiritual wisdom. From 1000 AD onwards, there was an influx of foreign rule. And in that period between 1000 AD to 1425 AD, in that period alone, more than 80 million Indians lost their lives. In the period between 1000 AD to 1900 AD, the GDP's contribution of India with respect to the rest of the world went down from 36% to 1%. And in 1947, India's GDP was 3%. The literacy rate amongst men was 16% and among women was 8% in 1947. At this stage, we found that the effect of this kind of an invasion was a loss in confidence of Indians in their own traditional knowledge systems. This loss in confidence in our own knowledge systems resulted in the loss of confidence in our culture and tradition. And this ultimately led to the greater loss, which is the loss of confidence in our own identity. and this results in an identity crisis. But for those who feel that the attacks ended in 1947, they are mistaken. The attacks continued beyond 1947, and post-independence, there were academic attacks on Hinduism in the form of cultural appropriations, psychoanalytic interpretations, and portrayal of the irrelevance of Hinduism. And the overall impact of this on society was the youth became demoralized and disconnected from their own tradition. This spiritual disconnection led to a decay in society. There was an increase in consumerism, loss of values. There is a stress epidemic amongst the youth and widespread confusion about their own identity. In conclusion, I would like to say that we are largely responsible for not grasping the gravity of the situation with respect to the impact which the loss in values has had on society. The world's population is 7.6 billion. 31% of the population are Christians. Just over 23% are Muslims. 16% come in the category of agnostics, skeptics, atheists, secularists, etc. The fourth largest group at 15% of the world population at 1.08 billion, auspicious figure 108, are the Hindus. And then the Buddhists are just over 7%. And it is astonishing that Hindus being amongst the top 5 large segments of the world's population, there is practically not sufficient emphasis on the proper approach to academic understanding of Hinduism and studies connected to this. The Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center is a humble effort to create a world-class research center to preserve and adapt our philosophical traditions to be able to reveal practical solutions which society is grappling with. The Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center attempts to preserve, research and present the rich heritage of ancient Indian philosophical tradition focused on Hindu personalism, specifically dealing with ethics, emotions, environment, efficiency, and entrepreneurship. We hope that our efforts will be of great importance and significance to people at large. In this journey, we are indeed very grateful to Mumbai University, and I would like to especially thank the Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, the administration of Mumbai University, as also the Philosophy Department, who have very kindly given a very helping hand to us in our journey. We began with a group of few students at the Govardhan Eco Village as part of what was known as the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha. I would like to express my gratitude to His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, His Grace Damodar Prabhu, His Grace Radhika Vallabh Prabhu, who have been consistently teaching, leading, and organizing the efforts here at the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha. And because of that beginning, we could actually come till today where we could actually establish a research center. I would like to also place on record our heartfelt gratitude to His Holiness Radhanath Swami for being the visionary behind this project. He has for many years emphasized on how we should have a systematic approach to education and studies. Our Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and Education was established in 2004 thanks to his repeated efforts and encouragement and inspiration. Inspired by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Shri Ajay Piramal ji has opened his heart and offered 3 acres of land at Piramal Vaikunt complex in Thane. And one of the ardent desires which the family and Radhanath Maharaj have in their heart is a center of excellence in academics is established. And I'm happy to say that today is the beginning of that journey, where the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center has now been allowed to admit 8 students every year to offer PhD in philosophy and Vaishnavism. We're also happy to share with you that we are very soon launching a whole series of diploma and certificate courses which will be affiliated to Mumbai University, and more information about these courses will be shared with all of you and the rest of the world. My gratitude to Dr. Narendra Desai, who is no longer with us physically, but in spirit he is always with us, because it was one of his very, very dear desires to have a college of this sort. And in fact, way back in 2006, we were trying to get another parcel of land somewhere else for this particular effort. But I'm sure today he will be very much present with all of us in spirit, because this was his dream also, which we are trying to fulfill. And on his behalf, his son, Kushal Desai, is here with us. And I'm very, very grateful to Kushal Bhai for being with us, helping us in this journey and taking us to the next level as far as the research center is concerned. We have 2 other very dear well-wishers who are not with us, Mr. Rishikesh Bhai Mafatlal and Rajiv Srivastav. Both have been very much a part of this journey, but due to other time commitments, they are not present today in today's event. We are also very grateful to them for their continuous support, not only for this research center here in Mumbai, but also to the sister concerned Bhaktivedanta Research Center at Kolkata, which has more than 25,000 manuscripts and very soon going to become a center of excellence in academics. I would end with a note of gratitude to His Holiness Bhakti Brhad Bhagavat Swami Maharaj, who's here with us. He's also the co-president of ISKCON Juhu, and he is the director of the Mayapur University. And thanks to his inspiration and effort, we got the opportunity to begin a journey in academics in Bhaktivedanta Research Center at Kolkata. And hopefully in the next 10 years, the seeds which we are sowing today should fructify in the form of a Srila Prabhupada University. This is also a very unique project, because we have the Chopati temple and the Juhu temple coming together, because the main research advisor for our Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center is the Vice President of ISKCON Juhu, His Grace Mukunda Madhav Prabhu Dr. Thanigai Malai. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj connected us to many luminaries in the world of scholarship across the world, who are also connected to Srila Prabhupada and the Vaishnava philosophy for many, many years. I would like to express my gratitude to Dr. Graham Schweik, Dr. David Heberman, Dr. Ravi Gupta, Dr. Ferdinando Sardella, Dr. Abhishek Ghosh, who are all connected to various institutes of reputation in the West. Also, my gratitude to Shaunaka Rishi Prabhu from Oxford Center for Hindu Studies, Dr. Sumanta Rudra, Dr. Snehal Donde, Dr. Ram Badode, Anurag Pratik, Ras Govind Prabhu, Rasik Raman Prabhu, Gopinath Prasad Prabhu, and quite a few others who have been part of this silent but determined journey which we have been going through over the last several years, visiting academic institutions across the world, including GTU, Maharashtra University, Brigham Young University, University of Indiana, Harvard, institutes in India like Ramakrishna University, Art of Living University, Amritananda University, trying to see and understand how all of these institutions in different parts of the world are trying to actually share the ancient traditional wisdom in an academic manner. And with these words, I would like to welcome all of you for today's event and look forward to a wonderful association with Mumbai University. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gauranga Prabhu. You really gave us a very good perspective of the entire Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center and of the vision in the years to come. So we look forward with hope, with lots of things coming our way. And with that, I now call upon Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor, Mumbai University. Let me first... We are honored to have our Education Minister, Honorable Minister Shri Vinod Tawde. We welcome him. I request Gauranga Prabhu to please give him a floral welcome. Thank you, Shri Vinod Tawde ji, for being with us today. I will introduce our next speaker, Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, in addition to being the Director of Institute of Chemical Technology, North Maharashtra University. He is an academician at heart and has taught thousands of students over the last 3 decades. He is an approved PhD guide in the subject of chemical engineering and technology, and he has published scores of research papers in leading national and international journals. He has spearheaded industrial projects and consultancy works. Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni has received Best Teacher Award in 2014 from the Governor of Maharashtra in North Maharashtra University. Teaching is closest to his heart, and he is the perfect person to be present for this historic affiliation of Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center to the Mumbai University. So over to Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni. He will address us with a few words, and I thank you, sir, for being here with us today.
Dignitaries on the dais, Honorable Minister of Higher and Technical Education, Sri Vinodji Tawde, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, His Grace Gauranga Das, Shri Ajay Piramal, Chairman, Piramal Group of Industries and advisor to this Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center, Professor Vishnu Magare, Pro Vice Chancellor, SNDT University, Mr. Kushal Desai, Managing Director, Apar Industries, and again an advisor associated with Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center, my colleague Dr. Datta Ghuge, all the entire holy and spiritual gathering. Good morning to all. It is a matter of pride for Mumbai University to have an affiliation to such a spiritual center. In fact, when Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center sought for an affiliation and recognition for having a PhD research center, we naturally went through which are the other universities which are providing such research affiliations. Sri Gauranga Das, His Grace Gauranga Das, in fact, presented so many institutes which are involved in research in spirituality, connected with traditional Indian philosophy and Vedanta. But then when it was just being connected to the universities, we observed that there are very few universities. In fact, probably in our country, it is University of Madras, which is well connected with research centers on Vaishnavism. And then probably one has to move to the west, probably University of Oxford, which has a separate center on Hinduism, which again undertakes a basic research and in Vaishnavism as well. ISKCON, I hope, has an additional Bhaktivedanta college in Belgium, which is connected to the local university. And probably now it's matter of pride for us that Mumbai University now has a well connected with an affiliated research center in the form of Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center, which will undertake the research and academic learning in ancient Indian knowledge and Vedic system. In fact, probably the major stress appears to be on Vaishnavism, and definitely it will take into account of the research which has been taken up by various founders of Vaishnavism, maybe Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Vallabhacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and probably they will move forward. That's what the Mumbai University has an expectation, that they will move forward besides PhD research in ancient Indian knowledge, Vedic literature, Vaishnavism. Besides that, it is expected that they will inculcate the combination of spirituality and knowledge even into management practices. In fact, when we look at Indian education system or worldwide, the basic purpose of the education is probably to provide knowledge, more of information power, and in some way it additionally inculcates certain wisdom which probably provides capability of application of this knowledge into practice. But apart from knowledge and wisdom, when it comes to the actual practice as a human being, either as a career or as a social life, we observe that knowledge and wisdom alone doesn't help for a human being to be a perfect person. His Grace Gauranga Das cited so many examples. He has cited Chinese example as well as US example. In fact, we come across one more example of Japanese society. Japanese is known for quest for excellence, and that is how probably through scientific research they have developed themselves as a information superpower. But however, around 1960 they realized that something is going wrong as far as Japanese youth is concerned. Okay, they were definitely very much inculcating wisdom, but probably as far as mind is concerned, okay, something was going wrong. Then Japanese educationalists again went back and carried in research, and then again they understood that it is required to have a spirituality as a part of education. And besides US and Chinese, okay, they do realize that these two should go together in order to make a human being a really perfect human being. When we thought of an Indian education system, really we are also losing on that part. As far as our design of the syllabus is concerned, design of the inculcation of education, academic practices are concerned, we are providing a very good support in terms of probably knowledge, wisdom, moving ahead, skill capabilities, but then probably something is still missing that makes a true and perfect human being, something that is, say, mental wisdom, social wisdom, and spiritual wisdom. Okay, probably having a Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center as an affiliated research center to Mumbai University, we expect that the research practices that will be taken up in future by Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center will amalgamate the knowledge and spirituality together and will probably provide a definite pathway for a student to be a good human being, rational human being, a human being with a perfectness of mental as well as social harmony. In addition to the research, as they have pointed out, they have several plans to undertake, and as on behalf of Mumbai University, I assure to Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center the entire support for all probable programs which probably they would like to undertake in future. We extend support through our Department of Philosophy as well as through administrative support for the total and fruitful success of Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center. I assure on behalf of Mumbai University. We expect that besides right now there are 2 programs which they have planned, but we would like to have something in future which will amalgamate Bhagavad Gita and modern management practices, which will help to be a good management power for industries too. So with that I sum up and again extend my wholehearted support on behalf of Mumbai University. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kulkarni. We are truly grateful for your support and we look forward to everything in the future, your support, your guidance, and this marriage between Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center and the Mumbai University. Thank you so much. And now, as we have our Honorable Minister with us, we will proceed for the moment we are waiting for, the formal inauguration. We have a plaque on the left side of the stage. So I request all our chief guests to kindly stand up and align yourselves on either side of the plaque, and we can have the formal inauguration. And I request 2 other dignitaries sitting in the audience, His Holiness Bhakti Brhad Bhagavat Maharaj, to please come up on stage for the inauguration, and also Dr. Thanniga Malai to please come up and join us. Gauranga Prabhu has already introduced both of them. They are our very own ISKCON God brothers and Maharaj from the ISKCON Juhu, who are very involved with the education arm of ISKCON. A very big hand to all our distinguished guests and such a supportive audience sitting amongst us for this inauguration. Please, everyone can come forward for the photograph. We are extremely grateful to have with us Shri Vinod Tawde, who is Cabinet Minister, Government of Maharashtra. He manages the portfolios of school education, higher and technical education, minority development and Waqf, sports and youth welfare, cultural affairs, and Marathi Bhasha. After assuming office, Shri Vinod Tawde has undertaken various successful initiatives in each of his portfolios. He is a man who takes his responsibilities very seriously and believes that with much power comes much responsibility. Shouldering the aspirations of 12 crore people of Maharashtra, he is working to ensure that every strata of society gets uplifted. As minister, he has undertaken many important and significant initiatives in the field of education for all stratas of students. And as education minister, he has given us so much support in our educational endeavors, in our Gopal's Garden School in Borivali and the Anamrita midday meal scheme. And it is because of his support that today, every school day, we are feeding 3 lakh underprivileged school-going children in Maharashtra. Thank you, Shri Vinod Tawde. Today we are truly honored to have you with us. to inaugurate the launch of the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center. And I now kindly request you to kindly come and say a few words. Thank you.
Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center's inauguration, which just has taken place. His Highness Radhanath Swamiji, our old friend Honorable Ajay Piramal ji, Pro Vice Chancellor Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, Dr. Magare, Mr. Kushal Desai, Datta Guge, Gauranga Prabhu, all brothers and sisters, one of my classmates whose name was Kamal Mitra, and I think here it is Krishnananda Prabhu. He is here. And when we were in school, he was always standing first, and I in between. Not a last, but in between. So happy to meet him after so many years. Frankly speaking, yesterday in Pune, the program was to award a prize named as Jnanova Tukaram for the person who has written lot on saint literature, Santa Sahitya. And today in continuation, I think I am attending the same function Because since I have taken as the education minister, when I look back after the education system of our country in a way, I always think that are we really parting the knowledge or the information? Kamal may be remembering in school when we were taught the distance between Earth and Moon is this much multiplied by this much light years. So we all immediately wrote down in our notebook. Intelligent student like Kamal kept in mind. But I had a question, I rose my hand and asked teacher, how did you measure it? Teacher said, sit down, this question will not come in the exam. Intelligent student immediately by-hearted. But a student like me, I was curious how it was measured. And teacher replied in that way, and no fault of her also, because her teacher has not taught her. So are we passing on the information or knowledge? And if you want to pass the knowledge, we as an Indian culture in our Bhagavad Gita and all other things, we have so much of knowledge. But it is totally untouched. And if anybody just think of distributing Bhagavad Gita, saffronization by BJP, all newspapers, all channels. Because the other day, some 6 months before, ISKCON approached me and one Bhivandi Ashram told me that we want to distribute Bhagavad Gita, 1,008 volumes of each. Can you help us? Well, as a government, I can't, but I will give you the list of the colleges and you can surely do it. And they can keep it in the library. So we gave him the list and then I asked my officers, this is a good thing they are doing, please help because they are doing it free of charge. And if this Bhagavad Gita's 8 volumes goes in the library, then it will help for students also. So you surely try to help them. Then some of our officers who are Bhagavad Gita ke bhakta the, so they on their own went to colleges and gave it. And one of the college immediately mentioned, the government is distributing Bhagavad Gita. What about Quran and Bible? मैंने कहा वो भी मुफ्त में दो, वो भी मुफ्त में बांटूंगा. There's nothing wrong. And that too in college, where there are undergraduate students, they are intelligent enough to take what is right in Bhagavad Gita, what is right in Bible, what is right in Quran, and they can go ahead. But if you just refer your Bhagavad Gita or anything, it means you are communal. And when are we going to come out of that mental state? And so as an education minister, I always wanted to introduce Bhagavad Gita from class 1, not as a Bhagavad Gita, but what is even taught in Bhagavad Gita can we interpret in the easy language so that class 1, that is 6-year kid, can easily accept it. It may be in stories, it may be in some other form. I inquired with lot number of institutions, right from Sanskrit Vidyapitha in Ramtek, with Sanskrit scholars, with other Bhagavad Gitas who have done PhD on this. But they said that we have this PhD volume, you can refer it to. You have to help me because Bhagavad Gita is such a depth, and every class you need to put it in such a way that students should easily follow it. Because some may say it is a factual, some may say that it is just a virtual which gives you that how you have to be with your life. But in any way it is teaching. Whichever way you look at Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, Upanishads, everything, and our Vedas, Upanishads are not any religious documents. They are philosophical and scientific. When our HRD Minister for State, Mr. Satyapal Singh, who was Mumbai Police Commissioner, mentioned something about Vedas. These all things, what Pythagoras has said is already been said in Vedas. And which is true, but Manish Awasthi, my counterpart in Delhi, who is Education Minister, he rightly pointed out, Ajay ji, उन्होंने कहा कि ये सही है, it is true. But all these Vedas, Upanishads, you have kept in the temple. If you have brought this to the common man as a knowledge, easily everybody would have got it. आपने भगवत गीता को रख दिया, वेद उपनिषद को रख दिया भगवान के यहाँ, सुबह निकलने के पहले जल्दी 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 चलो. This is not Ved Upanishad Bhagavad Gita. It is a way of life to live. It is our philosophy. It has scientific approach. Have we ever thought to bring it in our education curriculum? Because of the British rule, what lot we have lost, the most we have lost is our education. Recently, 3 years before, I had been to UK for World Education Ministers Conference, and that time I met the CEO, Mr. Michael of Cambridge University. He took me to the famous college there. All Nobel laureates are coming out of there, and there was a statue of Newton, and Lord Macaulay, and everyone. So I was curious. I went near Newton's statue, and he then showed me, this is the same tree where Newton saw that apple falling down. And I go, Acha, what is the life of tree? No, then we replanted. He said, very rarely some people ask these questions. Immediately they take selfie and post it. Newton's tree I visited. But when he took me the Lord Macaulay statue, I said, he is the Lord Macaulay. I said, yeah, I know. You would like to have a photograph? I said, no. I said, why? Because Lord Macaulay bought the education system in India, and where in Parliament he said, by this education system, Indian next generation will be Indian by blood, but English by taste. And I stood in front of Lord Macaulay statue, and in my mind I said, I'll come to you again and have a photograph, then my Indians will be Indians by taste also. We are not against any country, any religion, any language, but education in mother tongue is most important. Because as per me, mother tongue is our eyes and English is specs. If you want to read well, you need specs. But if you don't have eyes, only wear specs, you are not able to read. But nowadays, if you don't go in English medium school, it means you will be compounder. And if in English medium, then doctor. Just as a curiosity, I took a general survey on net. All the universities in India, their head of department of English are all such persons who have completed their school education in their own mother tongue language, medium. Nobody is from convents or nobody is from Doon school, no, nothing. And I've been from convent, I know if you are from convent, your grammatical English is not good. But I think English is the language of employability. English is the language which is being used at large in the world. So you should know English. But school education must be in mother tongue so that student can grasp more knowledge. And I think by this Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center, it will help us to get the teachers who can teach our students the way which we are thinking that this should be done. Because recently I'm starting one Maharashtra International Education Board, MIEB, only for local language medium schools. Now I am starting with the government schools, ZPs and municipalities. And in that curriculum, we are planning from local to global. And Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, who recently received the Magsaysay Award, the person you may remember, Amir Khan's 3 Idiots Wangdu, he is Sonam Wangchuk, who has a school in Ladakh. He is our board member in this international school board, MIEB, Maharashtra International Education Board. Sonam Wangchuk School in Ladakh, you know what is the qualification to get admission in his school? Anybody knows it? You have to fail twice in 10th. You have to fail twice in 10th, then only you get admission in Sonam Wangchuk School, and for 1 year, he teaches you in such a way, his theory is very simple. Teach the student all the topics you want with nature. He teaches geography with nature. He teaches science with nature. He teaches maths with nature. And the student who have failed twice in SSC, 10th, after 1 year in his school, he scores 75, 80, 85% in Jammu Kashmir school SSC board. When we look at this photograph of Gurukul, we think, Gurukul was not that going in jungle and having education, going in the nature. That was the thought. But because of the industrialization era, we came to the buildings, then books, then printing machines, this, that, and everything was fall out of industrial revolution. But now the world is heading towards industrial revolution is getting over, and the next 50 years world will need the healing. Global warming, we are working for healing. What happened in Kerala was mentioned by Mr. Gadge in 81, but we were very much busy in our industrial revolution and the jobs thereafter were all. But now the world is in need of the healing type of education so that we can save our earth planet. And at that time, we are at a crucial position after next 2 years from 2020 till 2045. 25 years, India is going to be the youngest country in the world. It means when the average age of European citizens will be 60-65, Americans will be 60-65, 58-62. That time Indians' average age will be 34 to 37. And India will supply the human resource to full world. And at that time, because after 2045, it will be the African countries. They will be the youngest in the world. So we have these 25 years. So our demographic dividend which we want to take it, we need such type of diploma and certificate courses, because we don't only want to supply the human resource who will work as an engineer, as a doctor, as a nurse, as a plumber, as a scientist, but with our Indian culture which has been taught in Ved, Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita. And if we are able to do it successfully, I am sure it is a God-given chance to country India to transform the world. At the right time, world will need India's human resource. But the human resource going there, if he goes with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, Upanishad and all our things, it will be an additional benefit. As we get in Diwali and other times, super, एक पे एक free मिलता है ना, तो एक इंजीनियर पे एक वेदांत और उपनिषद वाला फ्री मिल जाएगा आपको. And I think God has proposed the same thing. And if He has proposed, I think we should be ready to it. And I thank Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha for taking this opportunity. And as a higher education minister, I assure you that our Mumbai University will fully cooperate with this. There are a number of rules and bureaucratic hurdles, as Ajay Piramal ji is well averse with it, but we'll surely cross that hurdles. Nowadays we are winning good medals in Asiads and all, not to worry about that. So I think you can win gold medal here. That will minimize the hurdles, because this education is the need, and which we as a Maharashtra, we as a India were waiting for it. And since Bhaktivedanta has started it, will make a successful pilot which will be adopted all over India, and finally which will be useful for the whole world. So thanks again. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
We thank you so much, Shri Vinod Tawde ji, for sharing wonderful anecdotes from your own life and for showing us the way ahead. And we really respect you, we support you, we need your support for all our future initiatives. Thank you so much for being here with us. And now, I call upon Shri Ajay Piramal ji, who is India's leading industrialist, philanthropist, and social entrepreneur. He is the chairman of the Piramal Group of Industries, one of the most respected, diversified conglomerates with a presence across 100 countries and interests in pharmaceuticals, financial services, real estate, healthcare analytics, glass packaging, and much more. Ajay ji's social initiative, nurtured by Piramal Foundation, addresses three focus areas of health, education, and water. The Piramal Foundation for Education Leadership has been formulating, implementing, and offering leadership training programs for school headmasters, youth, and education administrators in the government system. Ajay ji's life revolves around the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, and his group's core values of knowledge, action, care, and impact are based on the principles of the Gita. And recently, I've had the good fortune of being able to be present at an award ceremony where Shri Ajay Piramal was receiving a leadership award, and his acceptance speech was the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. It was so wonderful to hear him then. And Ajayji, he has been a pillar of support for all our projects. And as you know, for the upcoming Thane project as well, he's provided us land and given us so much support. And for all this and more, Shri Ajayji, thank you. And now over to you to say a few words. Thank you so much.
His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, the Honorable Cabinet Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Vinod Tawde ji. If I read out all his portfolios, it will take at least 5 minutes because he's such a versatile and dynamic minister. And all the distinguished guests on the stage and in the audience. Nupur spoke very highly about me, but there's one thing that she mentioned in the beginning of her talk was about Sanskrit being the perfect language, being recognized in the world. And that's when I remembered a story of Panini, who gave us the Sanskrit language. So I thought I will share that with you before I start. So when Panini was a young boy, he went to an astrologer and showed his palm. And the astrologer, when he looked at the palm, said that, you have many good things, but one thing I don't see in your palm is any line of education. So you will do other things, but you will not be in this field. So Panini was a determined young boy. He went home and next day took a knife and drew a line on his palm and went and showed the astrologer the next day that now do you see the line? And he said that the power is not in what you are born with, but what you do with it. So in some ways, when people say that our culture is a defeatist culture, and this, what I think the Honorable Minister said, is what we were taught in school. Frankly, it was mentioned that, Indians, we will accept. If you are poor, you accept that you are poor, and that's how mera naseeb hai, and so on. But actually, if you go into the depth, I think the law of karma is in some ways the most positive thing that one can do. It is positive in the sense that it says that what we do today, we determine our future is in our hands to do that. And so that is the philosophy that we've followed in our business as well. And since I was asked to speak on how Vedantic principles in business, I thought I will start with some of the experiences that we've had. In the introduction to me, I was told, it was said that we have businesses across many countries, which we do. We employ maybe 3,000 people in the United States alone. So these are not people who know our philosophy. But yet I can say that all the principles that we apply in our business, which are derived from Vedic philosophy, are as applicable in the United States or in Europe as they are in India itself. And I want to begin with one basic quotation which inspires all of us in our business. And I want to share this with you. It is from the Upanishads. It says, we are what our deep driving desire is. As is our desire, so is our will. As is our will, so is our deed. And as is our deed, so is our destiny. So the key words I just want to say is that if we have a deep driving desire to do something or to achieve something, that becomes, and if we will that to happen, if we wish to really, if we will that to happen, and then if you do the deed, if you do that, then you will achieve you can fashion your own destiny. And these are not just words which are said out of the Upanishads. We have tried and we have implemented this and we believe in it, and believe me, we have been actually seen it before our eyes. I'm going to give you just one example, and there are several such. Because of shortage of time, I don't want to say that. We were traditionally in the textile business. It was in 1988 that we entered into the pharmaceutical business. This was the first time we entered in this business. We had no knowledge of it. But it was a business which we acquired. It was a small British multinational in India. And in terms of the ranking in the size of the business compared to all other companies, our rank was just 48. So we were pretty behind. But we, that time one is young, and I had read this famous shlok from the Upanishads. I said, let's implement it. So in one of the board meetings, I told our board that we will, by 2000, the next 10 years, get to within the top 5 from 48. We didn't know how it was to be done. But this was the deep belief that we had. And all over my colleagues in the company all resolved that if this is true, if it's said in the Upanishad, it must come true. And we didn't know how, but believe me, in 2000, we did come in the top 5. So therefore, it is possible to do that. The other day, I was in a meeting with some friends of mine, and some younger children were also not young. They were like in the 20s with us, and we were talking. And my friends, so one of these younger kids was just talking about the Gita and how important it is. And then one of my friends said, who was older, he says, this is not meant, don't worry too much about the Gita, because, it's good when you're old. But, think about the setting of the Gita. I think the Lord is not, He knows, He's smart. The Gita is set in the battlefield. The Gita is given, the Upadesh is given to somebody who is in his prime of his youth. He's the most skillful archer in the world. He's probably 30 or somewhere. And he's being taught. So it's relevant for each one of us. And I see that it's so relevant in our business as well. I want to talk a little bit about how in the Gita it says you have to be a man of, what are the qualities of people who are men of wisdom and who are dear to the Lord. Talks about fearlessness, absence of fear. And this is one of those things that I have myself followed. When I was young, I have to be honest, I was fearful. What will happen? What will happen? So on. I had some personal tragedies. My father died all of a sudden when I was 24. My elder brother, who was in business, passed away when I was 29. Our business went through a difficult time, and so many things. But it was then when I realized the power of what the Gita says. That if you are fearless, and the Lord has said so in the Gita again, I think He says that I will preserve what you have, protect what you have, and provide what you need. If you start believing in that internally, and it gave me so much of strength that if there is somebody else who's doing your protection and providing, then why do you need to worry? And it really helped through all these challenging times. One of the most often quoted verses of the Gita talks about how you should not focus on results but focus on action. And again, in our young days, we were taught that, this is such a thing. We have to be result oriented. How can you not have results? Otherwise, that's why India and we are all behind. But if one goes behind the meaning of it, and I have tried it again in my life, I can say, if we go behind it, we realize that what is result? It is just what you do as an action. It is just a consequence of your action. So if I was in school and if I was with you, Mr. Tawde, and maybe I would have thought I want to come first, I can keep dreaming of first. If I do nothing, I would have been where I was. But it is the action that's important. And I think that's what in the famous slok the Lord says. And let me tell you this. We were in the midst of a very large transaction with a large American company. This is probably the largest transaction in the pharmaceutical industry in India. And at that time, a lot, because they realized that we were selling a business to them, the buyers realized that this was very important for us. And therefore, during the process, they kept putting pressure on us that if you don't do this, you will not get the deal. If you don't do this, we'll walk away. And that's when I realized that what we need to focus on is not worry about whether they go or not. We need to focus upon what we do, is it right or wrong? And if you do the right action, the results will actually come. And this is what happened. At the end, we became friends, the deal was done, and 6 months later, he says, we didn't realize how we put so much pressure. We were hoping that you would give in, but you were the most, composed during that period, which helped you get so much strength, and we had to give in at every time. So it just shows that if you do the right action. One of the other things that I have learned from Radhanath Maharaj is to have the right sangat or the right association of people. We have seen so many people in business. You see that every day today there are scams in business. I think the reason for that is, one of the reasons is also that you do not associate with the right people. Association of the right people means those people who can tell you that this is right and that is wrong. And to encourage these people, I have found, has been a source of great advantage to me as well. The Lord talks about that we are just mere instruments and we are just mere trustees of the wealth that has been bestowed upon us. And therefore, in some ways, there is a role that we all have to play. If you have born a human being, it's been after several million births of other species. And we as human beings we are the only species which has the ability to discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. And thus, in our group, we believe that the purpose of our group is to do well and to do good and make a positive difference in the world around us. And that is, I think, all of us, in whatever way we are so privileged. We are privileged because first we are born a human being. We are privileged because we are educated. We are privileged because we have come from good families. We are privileged because we have jobs. Many of us have much more wealth than what we can ever consume. And thus, it is our duty to give back to society. And that's what we in our group strongly believe in. to give back to society in whatever which way we can do it. And finally, I want to say that, as I said, the Gita is probably the most positive book. It is, if ever anybody feels depressed, one is to just read it, because I think in every case I've seen, the Lord is assuring us, even if you're the worst sinner, if you go back to Him, He will take you. And as it said in the last verse, that if you believe that there is Krishna and if you can act like Arjuna, then victory, happiness, and prosperity will be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shri Ajay ji. And it is evident in your actions that you so much depend on the words of the Gita. And now I call upon our next speaker, Dr. Vishnu Magare. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor, SNDT Women's University. And he is also served as the Acting Pro Vice Chancellor for University of Mumbai.
That is past history.
Okay, that is past. See, he has served. Yes. He is a professor in the subject of zoology. He has served as Director, Board of College and University Development in the University of Mumbai. And he has also served as Principal of Kirti College and Ferguson College. Thank you so much for being here to support us today. Over to you, Dr. Vishnu Magare, for a few words. Thank you.
Namaskar. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Ji Maharaj, Honorable Minister of Higher and Technical Education, Government of Maharashtra, Shri Vinod Tawde. And I liked it the way you have referred to Shri Ajay ji. You say that he's an industrialist, but at the same time he is a social entrepreneur. And that we could see from his speech. The Pro Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni ji. His Graceness Gauranga ji, Kushal Desai ji, Dattaji Guge. I was very keenly listening to Honorable Minister, and then he made me realize the importance of the education. And that took me to what exactly the education is. And he emphasized the education is to be reached, and it reaches to the people successfully when it is being given in his mother tongue. And that prompted me, so in what language I should speak? Whether I should speak it in Marathi or I should speak it in English. Because he has, what is the definition of education that we have learned. In fact, this word education is a Greek word. It's made up of two words. One is educare and another one is the educier. Educare, before educare it comes educier. Educier means what is there inside that is to be brought forth. And educare means what is brought forth that is to be cultivated. And exactly Honorable Minister referred to that. We have got so many things in our store, but we have not explored it. We have dumped it in the places where we wanted to dump it, whether they are holy places or the places other than the holy places. But now the time has come, and the world also wants it to have it. And therefore, the potential that we have, that is to be explored, it is to be brought forth before the world. And then and we have cultivated all these years, but now it is time to explore it and bring it before the world. And therefore, in order to do that, the mother tongue would be playing a very, very important role. And that is what the purpose of the education is. I was wondering as to why you have called me here for this particular program. And it reminds me of what Ajay ji said. A Sangat is a very, very important kind of a thing in a life. He has learned this lesson from this. There is a University of Mumbai that you have got this center. And I am representing Women's University. Perhaps you may be wanting the Sangat of this Women's University. We, as the Women's University, welcome you, the Bhaktivedanta Research Institute, that we have also got to do so many things in collaboration with you. I welcome you if you want to come to the Women's University. We are open-hearted. You have got three different objectives. One is the truth, another one is the tradition, and with that you would like to transform the society. And truth is nothing but the research. And what this research institution would be doing in order to find out the truth, I was wondering. Somebody made the definition of a truth. Truth is a very relative kind of a thing. And he says that the truth is somewhere in between, which is far away from the fact and away from the reality. And you will have to find from these two extremes, one has to explore and find out real truth is. Bhaktivedanta Research Institution must be doing the same kind of a thing. Dhritarashtra was also puzzled. In Mahabharata, it is said, and he is talking about the Janardana. He was a blind man, although he was an emperor. He wanted to see the world through the Sanjaya. And he once asked, and that is quoted in Mahabharata, he asked Sanjay, what contains in bhakti of the Janardana? Please tell me. And Sanjay says, and he teaches him a lesson. Sanjay says that don't indulge into the worldly illusions. And secondly, don't practice the false dharma. In the research, same kind of things are there. When you try to research the thing, you would find the things are so relative and you would find everything is the truth. But in the ultimate analysis, you would find that it is far away from the truth and far away from the facts. Then what research that you have done? There must be some way a researcher does it. And then Sanjay further says to him, and that is the right way to pursue your research. You can do it, Sanjay. Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra, you can do it. But then for that matter, you are required to study the Shastras. Studying, it is a matter of science, and you will have to do it. And if you want to study it, you have to study it with a pure mind. A researcher has to have a pure mind. He should not be biased. If you are biased, you would not be in position to reach to a kind of a truth that you want to reach. And this would happen not because of anything, but you will have to have pure mind, and secondly, you will have to a full-hearted devotion towards the work that you have undertaken. If you succeed into it, then you would find the importance of the Janardana, and when you would realize, you would see that you have reached Janardana. Hearing it so simple, but practicing is so difficult. So Dhritarashtra, if you want to do it and want to reach to Janardana, see that you are doing this. In the area of the research, adharma, nowadays the term used is the plagiarism. If that is to be avoided, one has to follow the true path. Find out the things which are really, which are in real sense of a term, they are the truth and no else than the truth is. because ultimately it is one that would be going to win. So Satyameva Jayate, that is what it is. And the other name of it is a research. I suppose that when you have said before these three objectives, one is the truth, second one is the tradition, and then the transformation. You want to change the society, making research as a tool of changing the society. And I suppose with this, it is not that, but you are also practicing practicing the same kind of a philosophy. You have had, you have got a eco-village. There is, and for doing this, and there is also in Gita, the distinction between the three, it is being beautifully being done: Bhagavat, Bhakta, and Bhakti. Unless all these three come together, Bhagavat, Bhakta, and Bhakti in unison, it is very difficult for an individual to achieve and accomplish success in his endeavor or in his life. I suppose one of the important thing that this research center undertakes is it's a state of a mind, one which is requires for a researcher. One has to have a pure-hearted devotion towards the work that he has undertaken. And then one has to find out a way how beautifully it is to be done with all the efforts it is required, taking into account all the pros and cons. And there I find for my university a great place. We are women's university, and therefore we are also equal part of the society. Half of the world is covered by us. So therefore, I would like to request the center organizers that if you could look at our university, you can also make a center. We may be having our own perspective from the women's point of view to look at the whole world, but that could be also an important area where the research could be done. So I welcome you, and with this I would like to take your leave. Bhavatu Saggamangalam. God bless you all.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Dr. Vishnu Magare. I would also like to announce that in our midst we have Srimati Meena Kute, who is in the audience, and we would like to welcome her. Thank you for coming. And she is the University of SNDT Registrar. Thank you so much. I request Srimati Snehal Donde to kindly felicitate her. Thank you. Thank you for coming, madam. And now, for the final speaker that we've all been waiting for, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He needs no introduction, but nonetheless, I will just speak a few words that His Holiness Radhanath Swami has been the author of 2 best-selling books. Yes, felicitating Srimati Meena Kute, the SNDT University Registrar. Thank you. His Holiness Radhanath Swami, he has been the author of 2 best-selling books, The Journey Home, and his latest book, The Journey Within. He is a most beloved and respected spiritual leader, motivational speaker, and community builder. His major philanthropic work in India include founding the Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mira Road and many other satellite centers and hospitals in and around Maharashtra. Then the Bhaktivedanta Hospice for terminally ill patients in Vrindavan, the Gopal's Garden School in Borivali, the Barsana Rural Eye Camp, and the Anamrita midday meal program feeding 1.2 million children all over India every school day. One of his most impactful projects is the Govardhan Eco-Village, which demonstrates the importance of building a sustainable community in harmony with nature. The Eco-Village has won several government, industry, and international awards. Over the last 40 years in India, Swamiji has transformed the lives of thousands of ordinary people and has inspired them to do extraordinary things with their lives. And so it is with the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj has been the inspiration and guide for setting up this remarkable research center. And we are indeed very grateful and thankful to him for always guiding us and being the founder of all these wonderful projects. And before I end, I would also like to say that His Holiness, in his youth, has done such deep studies. He's isolated himself. He studied the Bhagavad Gita. He studied the Srimad Bhagavatam. He studied the Chaitanya Charitamrita texts in such great detail that if at that time we had the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center, we would be calling him Dr. Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Over to His Holiness Radhanath Swami. We request you to enlighten us with a few words. Thank you.
I am sincerely grateful and honored to be among all of you today. My special gratitude to our Minister of Education, Vinod, Tawde, Ajay Piramal, Dr. Kulkarni, and all of our esteemed guests. The purpose of our educational institution can be understood in our name, Bhaktivedanta. Vedanta means the conclusion of all knowledge. What is the conclusion of all knowledge? Bhakti. To serve with love and devotion. The Brahma Sutra tells Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The true purpose of the human form of life is to understand, who am I? What is Brahman? What is my relationship with the Supreme? What is my relationship with other people? What is my relationship with the environment? If we cannot understand these principles, then whatever education we have can be a serious part of the problems in this world. In our Vedic scriptures, we learn the consciousness, the motivation in which we live is the real testimony of the knowledge that we have. In the Mahabharata, we have Arjuna and we have Duryodhana. In Kurukshetra, they were facing each other. Interesting, they went to the same university. They were both students of Dronacharya. And Dronacharya taught both of them the same subjects. They both knew how to fight with clubs and bows and arrows. They knew how to organize and manage various other soldiers and people. They knew how to tax citizens. But the difference was, Duryodhana was motivated by arrogance, envy, and greed. He was thinking, I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, and I am the controller. Arjuna, who in the battle was doing the same things as Duryodhana, with the same educational background, he was performing his duties in harmony with the will of Krishna, with the will of God, with compassion, with self-control. That is Dharma. One was bringing prosperity and light to the world, and Duryodhana, suffering and darkness. Similarly in Ramayana, Ravana's a very highly educated person as far as his intellect and his skills. But his motivation to possess and to exploit Sita. Hanuman, his purpose was to reunite Sita with Ram in the spirit of a selfless servant. Our Guru Srila Prabhupada, who Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center is named after, he was asked, "What is your mission?" Srila Prabhupada could take volumes and volumes of literatures and millenniums of tradition and present it in one sentence. He said, "Our mission is to teach you what you have forgotten. That we're all part of God. We're all eternal servants of God. Vidyavanaya sampane brahmani gabi hastini suni chaiva swapakya cha pandita samadarshana." And every living being is our brothers and sisters because everyone is a part of God. Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhradam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantim richjati. It's the mother language. For all of creation and all living beings. That we cannot find peace within ourselves and we cannot bring peace to the world unless we understand the Supreme Being, who has many names, Krishna, is the proprietor of everything that exists. And everything should be used in harmony with the will of the Supreme. To serve with love is the real conclusion of all knowledge. As far as I could see, I travel many places. There's so many universities, so many colleges, so many schools of varieties. What's lacking is the basic subject of the purpose of life. And that is not a sectarian idea. That is universal. When Srila Prabhupada was at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, one of the finest educational institutions in the world, he said, "What? Do you have any department of knowledge to teach people who they are? Unless we understand who I am, we can't understand what is our purpose, what is our relationships with the environment, or what is our relationship with other people." We are the eternal living force that's animating our bodies. We are Sach Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness. And everyone's looking for that happiness. Some are bringing light to the world in the search of happiness, and some are bringing darkness, destruction, pollution, and pain to the world in search of happiness. The real joy of the soul is to serve with love. Poverty, pollution, disease, fighting wars, the root cause is people in leading positions have forgotten who they are. What is real happiness? Mr. Ajay Piramal, by God's grace, he's been given so much. I know him for many years. He understands, he feels that real happiness is what he can share. If Krishna has entrusted me with power and influence, it's meant to be used for the upliftment of Krishna's children. This is the original purpose of the traditional educational institutions throughout the world, as our Gauranga Prabhu has spoken. Values, character, based on compassion, is the foundation that we must build our learning centers throughout the world so that we can truly make a positive difference in people's lives. Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha Research Center is a humble offering to bring harmony to the body, the mind, and soul through science, through art, through every type of skill, because that will bring harmony to humanity, to all beings, and to the world. Today we are inaugurating our connection, our alliance with Mumbai University. And I believe this is a very historical event. I'm hoping, I'm praying it will be a seed that when watered with proper integrity and devotion, it can create a tree and then a forest with limitless fruits of knowledge and devotion. Thank you very much.
We thank you, Your Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, for your enlightening words. And now we call upon Shri Kushal Desai, Chairman of Apar Industries, to please give the vote of thanks. And as he calls upon each member of our guests over here, we will give tokens of appreciation to each of them.
It's my privilege to give the vote of thanks. As we've heard right from the times of the British Raj in the 1800s, there has been a systematic dismantling of our Vedic education system and the wisdom that we derive from the Vedic literatures. Books have been rewritten, fake interpretations and twisted forms have come in through the number of years, and it is really up to us today to facilitate the relevance of this literature to come into our day-to-day lives. our Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha is a definite step in this direction. I would like to at this stage thank the Honorable Education Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Vinod Tawde for taking out the time in this from his very busy schedule. Please accept this token of appreciation from us. I would also like to thank Shri Ajay Piramal, who has been such a pillar of support for us. He's a very busy industrialist, social entrepreneur involved in so many different activities. Thank you, Ajay ji, for being here with us today. I would also like to thank Dr. Ravindra Kulkarni, the Pro-Chancellor of Mumbai University. Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni, for being with us. I'd also like to thank Dr. Vishnu Magare, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of SNDT Women's University. Thank you, Dr. Vishnu, for being with us today. And finally, and most importantly, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, for giving us a beautiful talk today and for being the inspiration for the whole effort. I'd also like to thank Shri Datta Guge, who's the Deputy Registrar of Mumbai University, for being with us today. Thank you very much. I'm sure in the annals of time, this 1st September 2018 will go down as a historic day where this most important initiative took root. We have to control our own destiny and bring out the truth, understand our traditions, and transform thought leadership with relevance in today's modern era. With that, I'd like to thank all of you once again for please taking out your valuable time and the personal support in helping establish the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapitha and Research Center, and for your time today. Thank you very much.